Hi friends, happy Friday. I hope everybody is doing well. I got this cute new little thingy, so I had to lay it there. I wanted it for my stamp room. So I've got a fun autumn or fall card to do today, and it is a tutorial. So for those who don't like the longer videos, you might want to watch the replay. That way you can skip ahead. For those that do like to sit and hang out with me while I make a card, glad to have you here. Please feel free to join in on the chat. Say hello. Tell me where you're watching from. And thank you to all my subscribers. And if I have any new subscribers out there, welcome to my channel. I'm so happy to have you here. Okay, I'm going to get started. Well, I did ask in my last video if people liked shorter videos or longer videos, and there was a mix between both things. And I do both types of videos. My Saturday morning makes videos are always a shorter video where it's not really a tutorial. Hi, Marianne. And my Friday videos, I'm usually making a card or something, but sometimes those are a shorter video as well. So I've just got a mix. I think I'll just keep it that way and try to make everybody as happy as I can. Okay, let me move that aside and we'll get going. All right, so I'm going to be playing with this. I bought it a while ago at Hobby Lobby, and I had a bag of things that I had bought to put my fall tier tray together, and when I got all my stuff out to do it the other day, this was in the bottom of the bag, and it's like, oh, I forgot I bought it. And isn't it cool? So let's have some fun with that. First of all, this is one of those really thick embossing folders. And I just love how it looks like a basket. It's called Intertwine. I bet you can find it on Amazon or wherever as well, but it was $10.99. I can't remember if they had a percentage off the day I bought it or not, but that was the original price there at Hobby Lobby. I'm going to get a piece of paper towel here real quick. So with these thicker embossing folders, 3D, let me see if I can just hold it up so you can kind of see how, well, you can see the thickness of the plastic, but they really emboss, and to the point that it will actually put holes in your paper. I'm gonna spritz my piece. I had spritzed it once already, and then I thought, no, I want to do this live so that, hi Angela, so that if people haven't used this type of an embossing folder before, you can kind of you know, just see how it goes. But so I'm gonna just lightly spritz it with some water, and see, it doesn't even look wet on that side, but that's okay. I just want it to be a little bit damp, and I'm going to set that aside. Now, this is the front of your embossing folder. Most of your embossing folders where they have the writing, that would be considered to be the front. And I'm going to get inky with it here. And I'm using some dark brown. This is Early Espresso ink by Stampin' Up. And because this looks like a basket, I want the dark ink to be into the crevices. So I'm inking the front side of this embossing folder. And I'm sure I will have a mess because you know how I am. I manage to get ink everywhere, usually all over my fingers. And okay, so this is bigger than my paper, but I still just want to make sure I have ink everywhere. So when I put my paper on there, I'm not missing any spots. All right, I think that is probably good enough. Let me close this up. And I'm going to lay my paper here. That looks pretty even on the embossing folder. Okay, so I'm going to run this through my machine. And when I run it through my machine, you want to follow whatever the recommendations are for your particular cutting and embossing machine as far as the stack. I have a Vagabond, an electric one. And so I thought usually with the 3D folders, you have a thicker like embossing plate that you put on the top. That was too much for this one. So I'm using just the base plate and one embossing plate to put on the top. And you want to run it through where the fold part goes through first. So let me run it through and we'll see what happens. All right, so I think it turned out pretty. Okay. Pretty. And there's the back side. I don't know. Yeah, you can see where there's actually little holes because this embosses so deeply. But there it is. It's gorgeous. Okay, I'm going to close this up and set it aside so that I can wash it up before I put it away and not get ink everywhere. Okay, so I'm gonna just set this aside. It's still just a little bit damp, but not too bad. So I'll set that part aside and let's move on to another part of the card. Okay, so I've got a black card base here. See, I'm already inky. 4¼ by 5½, our standard size. And then I have another piece of black cut to the same size that I want to create a frame with. And I'm going to use this rectangle die. This is one of the Journey from Fun Stampers Journey, Journey rectangle. So in this package, actually, there are ones that cut and ones that just emboss with little dots like stitching. So every other one in this set is like one of those embossing ones. I'm using one that cuts because I want to create a frame. I'm not going to measure, I am going to eyeball because I don't think that I need to be that persnickety. That looks pretty good to me. So I'm just going to hold it in place with a piece of Post-it tape. I'm going to run this through my machine and I'll be right back. Got to get my plates back on here. Okay, so here we go, and as you can see, hopefully, it kind of embossed a little edge around where the die set, so it really gives it more of that bit of a frame look. And then I have a nice rectangle of black here that I can save and use for another project. And now I'm going to play with this frame a little bit. I dug in my drawer of goodies that have been in there, kind of multimedia stuff that's been in there forever. I knew I had some of this Viva Inca Gold, and I remember buying this off Amazon eons ago. Well, it doesn't really seem like eons ago, but it's been at least a couple of years ago. And I was thinking it was kind of like a paste, but when I took the lid off of it, it has like a little shaker thing in here. So I don't know if it was a powder, whatever it was, it's dried up. But I'm just going to pull this lid off of here. It's dry like paint would dry up or whatever, but it's still very, very usable because all I am going to do is spritz some water in there. And I could probably put a lot of water in it and, you know, let it mix up, but I just don't need to do that. I'm going to use my finger, and let me pull out some scrap paper here. So I'm just going to rub it with my finger here, and I'm just going to, you know, do this. Antique a little bit this frame. And this is the third one of these cards I've made now. And the thing about putting the water in there, it soaks in and dries up super fast. So I'm going to spritz it again. Oops, I got a chunk. I'm going to throw that chunk away. I don't needs it. Okay. Now you can probably go lighter than what I'm going, but I kind of just like the effect of the gold. You can see the black through it, and it just gives it that antique look. It's already drying up again. It dries really fast. I'll give it a couple of spritzes. So do any of you have a little pot of this stuff? What did it start out as? Like paint? I can't even remember. The little holes in the top little plastic thing confused me. So I thought, oh, it's like a powder. I have a bunch of mica powders, and that's not what I was wanting to use. I was wanting to do like the rub-on. So I was thinking that's what this was, and that's how I'm using it, obviously. But, okay. So going with that, and as you can see, it's almost, the water has mostly dried up in there again. But I can use it over and over and over and over just by adding a little water. Now, on one of the other samples or cards that I made, I used this on the frame, and I'll show you there at the end. This gold silk, which looks like a fingernail polish bottle. If you've played with this, you know how wonderful it is. It's too bad Fun Stamper's Journey went out of business because this was one of my favorite products, and I have it in many colors. But it is like a fingernail polish brush, and you just get the brush wet and then you tap, 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 and it puts fun dots of whatever pretty color that you are using all over. I'm going to get me a wipey and wipe my fingers. All right. So you can do the same thing as this with paints or your re-inkers. You just use a paintbrush and dip into it and tap, tap, tap and get your little dots everywhere. But you know, it was just handy that it came in this. And most of the colors they're either very pearly or frosty colors, and they also dry really fast. Okay, so there is that. So I've got those two pieces. And then I went ahead and die cut some things, and I'll show you what I used. This I actually stamped and then cut out with my scan and cut. And this is a really pretty stamp set. It's called Delicate Dahlias. And if you don't use the outline stamp and you just stamp it with the stamp, it comes out. The colors are so pretty, and I can never remember the name that they call these stamps that have all these shading on them. But anyway, this is one of those stamp sets. I wish they would put it on the packaging. So you can use it either way. You can do it as a two-step stamp and do the outline for each of these, the flowers and the leaves, or you can just stamp the designs themselves. I went ahead and used the outline this time, and I thought it would be fun. I used, this color is called Orchid Oasis, and I just kind of wanted to do a purpley blue one. Then I did some fun little swirly things with foil paper, and these are parts of a die that I used, which is from Impression Obsession, and it's this die here called something or another. I thought the name would be on it. There's not a name, but that is the die number right there. And it's this lovely heart kind of fleur-de-lis design, and I just wanted the fancy swirlies, so I cut it out with green and cut off pieces to use. And then I used another Fun Stamper's Journey die, this big bloom cluster die that cuts out these fun things. And I did those in gold papers. This one's a shiny gold, and this one is kind of a frosty. This one's very textured. So I used both of those kinds of papers. And then I've got some leaves here that I cut out. So I will set those aside. And then I also am using today from Fun Stamper's Journey this pumpkin. This was called Martha's Pumpkins, and there are stamps and dies, and they are just really fun and pretty pumpkin stamps. Love them. I'm going to be using that one. And I have a fun piece of patterned paper here in kind of a pumpkin-y color. So I'm going to, I've got my stamp loaded up here on my stamp positioner, and let me get this magnets off of here. I've got a little piece of tape on there too, reusable kind of tape that helps to hold the paper down, since I'm just using a little piece of a paper. That looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to stamp my the main part of my pumpkin up with this Cajun Craze, and then I'm going to, I've got a finger dauber here, and I've got garden green that I'm going to do the leaves and the stem with. So what do I want to do first? I'll do the pumpkin. Let me move some things out of the way here so I can move this over and you can see what I'm doing. That's always helpful. All right. So I am going to take my ink pad and try to avoid the top part of the pumpkin as much as I can. and just ink up the bottom. All right, that is looking pretty okay. Then I'm going to take my little wipey here and just wipe off on those little swirls or tendrils or whatever you want to call them. Anywhere I got ink that I don't really want it. I'm thinking that's probably okay. All right, now then, let's just stamp this. Okie dokie. All right, so now I am going to use my little finger dauber and this garden green color. And I'm going to put the ink on the leaves and the stem. If you have any questions and you're watching live, if you have any questions while I'm going along, don't be afraid to ask. And if you're watching the replay and have questions, just leave it in the comment there and I will do my best to answer. Okay, because putting it on with the dauber doesn't put the ink on as heavy as if you took the ink pad right to it. It takes a few times of going over it to get as much on there as you want. And I don't really want it on the pumpkin, so I'm going to take that back off. There's a little bit over there, but I'm not really too worried about that. Okay, let's try this and see how it goes. Okay, I am happy with that. So there you have it. And then I'm going to just take, I've got a marker here that's a little bit lighter of a green. That was garden green. This is old olive. This is just a regular marker. It's not a alcohol marker. And I'm just going to color in this stem. And you can still see the words and stuff through the color, and I like that. I'm going to die cut this since I have the dies for it. All right. So I have the die ready here. This leaves a pretty good, their dies leave a pretty good outline around the edge. So if you don't like that look, you can always just fussy cut it. I am not so much into the fussy cutting. All right, I'm going to put that right there. I think that's okay. And I'm going to run this through my machine real quick. I got in an order of a few little dies that I ordered from Impression Obsession, so I will show you those at the end here. Okay, so there's the pumpkin. Cute. All right, let me see. Where are we? I think I'm ready to start putting this card together. Okay, so I've got a piece of white for the inside since it's really hard to stamp and read things on black paper. I have scored this and I'm just going to burnish it a little bit there to make that fold a little better. And for this, let's see, I think what I'll do first is I'm going to attach the frame to this baskety piece. And because it's so textured, and you definitely don't want to use something like this or a glue runner or tape runner, because this paper, it really compromises the paper when you run it through these thick embossing folders, and it will just tear your paper when you try to attach adhesive with a runner. So for the frame, I am going to use some tear and tape or double-sided tape that I can just attach to the frame here. And I can tear it, but I kind of just like to snip it. So our wintry weather starts today. It's supposed to start raining. Well, actually, it could be raining out there now. I see it's blowing. But I live on the coast, so rain is what we get here, rain and wind. And 2 o'clock today was when it was all supposed to start. Up until now, we have had some really nice fall weather. I can't say that our summer weather was that magnificent. I mean, it was okay, but it was nice that the fall weather stuck around, and it just made the little bit warmer days last longer, so that was nice. Okay, so I'm going to just take my bone folder here and burnish these pieces down a little bit. Kind of makes the backing tape easier to pull off as well. Oh, you got the rain in Salem, Marianne? Yeah. We're supposed to have it for days now. I think actually Sunday it's supposed to ease up, and we're not supposed to have it on Sunday, but then it starts back up Monday and goes for days and days and days and days. All right, so I'm just going to get it onto the frame here so that no pieces are hanging over the edges. So that looks pretty good. All right. I will show you what I did on my first card when I get done here. And I wasn't happy with it at all to attach this to the front, because it does create that kind of thickness, and I wasn't sure how to go about attaching it to the front of my card. I don't like the choice I made. It's okay. I won't be sending it in the mail because it just made it too thick. But it's one that I can hand deliver to somebody. So I decided to try gluing it. I wasn't sure if that would work, but it did. So I'm using my art glitter glue, and I'm just going to put a little more than I would typically put on, just because it's going to be going into some of these crevices and things, if I can get it out. Okay, let me try my pen in here again. I need to fill my bottle up too, I think. There we go. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, I'm putting a little more on than what I typically do. With this glue, it takes a very small amount. I love this glue. It takes a very small amount and it dries really quickly. I also like my Tombow Mono adhesive glue. I like them both, but kind of like the tip on this one because it's got such a fine tip. but I use them both. Okay. And I'm going to just spread some out around in the middle here too. All right. Now then, do I want it like this? Do I want it like that? Kind of thinking I like it like that. And so then you just want to line it up with your card. I'm going to open it up and see how I'm doing here. Okay, you've got a little bit of wiggle room there to get that where you want it. So what I am gonna do is I'm gonna set it to the side, and I'm gonna bring over my Misty, because it's nice and flat, and I'm just gonna set it on top of there to hold that down and let that set for a minute. And I guess while I'm waiting on that, I'll go ahead and show you my little dies that I got, because there's only 3, so it's very quick. And these all came from Impression Obsession, and these dies are all by Anna White. And so I really like these, and this is the actual size of them. You can leave them fastened together even if you wanted to, and, you know, stamp out 3 greetings all at the same time. But these are called Pink Stitched Sentiment Banner, and that's the information there. And then I got the large frosted cookies. There's actually a small set of these, and here's the size of them. So this is the large set, and then there's tinier ones. But look at the gingerbread. It's so cute with the heart, and you can, it cuts the heart out, so you can cut it out whatever color you want and put it back in there. But they're made so that you can do the frosting, you know, make them look frosted. They are so adorable. So these are the large frosted cookies, and that is the information on those. I just love all of these. And then I got the trims dies. I got it mostly for the rickrack right there. I love that, but I love them all. I love all of these. And here's the actual size of them. And they're a nice length, so you can do, you know, a bigger card or longer card, whatever. But I think the little loop and big loop together would be cute, and you can actually turn this the opposite way from this and have it a little loop on one side and a big loop on the other side, or you can just, you know, make 2 of the same and put the flat sides together, if that makes sense, back to back, to make loops going top and bottom. This is going to be really fun to play with and have. I thought I had a die already that did that, but I don't have a die. I have a stamp that stamps that, but I wanted to be able to cut it out of whatever paper. Okay, so that was my little haul. Let me get this out of the way, and I think we can go ahead and work on finishing this card. I'm going to go ahead and put my piece of white on the inside, and I'm not going to stamp a greeting on it right now because I don't know what I want to use this card for. It could be for many different occasions. Just because it has a pumpkin on there does not mean you need to send it for Halloween or Thanksgiving even. It's just a great card for the fall season. It could be a birthday card even, or a thinking of you, or whatever you want to use it for. Okay, so as you can see, it still creates that thickness in there. And I'm going to just give it a little bit of a squeeze all the way around. Because I don't really care if it gets more flat under the frame part. You can actually take your bone folder and burnish around it too if you want. But I think that's going to be fine. Okay, so now let me bring in all these little parts and pieces, and we'll build this card. I'm going to start with my fun little green swirly-doos here. If I can get them untangled. There we go. I've got glue on my finger. And I'm going to use my art glitter glue again. All right, let's start with the bigger piece. So I'm going to hold it up like this. I'm going to get my glue going because I'm just going to polka dot it. And it's really easy to do when you're holding it in the air, to just barely touch the tip of the glue around and polka dot it. And you're not going to get it all over the front of your foiled area. And it's just putting glue on the back here and there. Foil is one of those things, if you get glue on it, it's, you know, it doesn't come out very pretty in the end because it's really hard to get the glue off. Okay, and I'm just going to put this over here like this. And then I'll take the other one. So think about what you have in your stash that you might have that you can cut things like this, that you know, like the heart die. It's just, I didn't want the whole thing. I just wanted the fun little swirlies. Think outside of the box, I guess, with your dies. Okay, so now this one. Don't want to touch that too much because the glue oozed out a bit, so I don't want to get it on the foil. I'm just going to leave it alone and let it dry. Okay, so there is that, and let's bring in the pumpkin. Okay, so I'm gluing the pumpkin down because I'm going to be popping up the flower and stuff. So I'm going to glue the pumpkin down. So there is that. Okay, now the flower. I'm going to be tucking in these other things under the flower. So I'm mostly just going to put my pop dots here in the the middle area. So I've got room to slide those other things in. So that will work there. Let me pull these off. And let's see, how do I want to put this on? Probably right like that. And then you just start tucking things how you want them. And I've got my scissors here so I can snip pieces off. Let's see. I like it to kind of come up there, so all right, I'm gonna snip this one right here. And then I can tuck it up like that. Okay, and see, I did what I said not to do. I got glue on there, but I caught it fast enough. Okay, let me just put one little bit of, oh, there is glue under there. There we go. Okay, and then I want a leaf there, but I want the leaf to be popped up at the end of the leaf, but the part I'm going to tuck under, I want glue. So I'm just going to do it like that, and I'm going to slide this under there. And I'm going to push it down there so where I put the glue will stick, and then it's popped up there. All right, and then I think I want a piece of the frosty bit over here too, but I'll wait on that. I want some frosty bit down here. Okay, let me get glue. There we go. Okay, and then it needs a little bit of gold shiny. Pretty. Okay. Let's get some of this over here. Or do we want it? I think it could just go over the top maybe. We'll see how it works. I'm just going to put glue on the bottom of it. See how it goes. Actually, I could kind of overlap. Okay, that looks pretty. That's as far as I'm going to go with it, I think. Yep, it's got enough. I could put another leaf. I could put maybe even part. Let's just do the little one. We can. We're grown-ups. We can do what we want. Okay. So there's some glue. Let me get, I'll put just a little. There we go. Okay, let turn it and okay, that looks pretty. I like it. You guys like it? I hope so. Okay. I think it turned out pretty. All right, so there is that one. Now, the first one I made. This is the first one I made. And I did the frame the same. But there, do you see what I did? It's really super thick because I had this brilliant idea, I thought, to, oh, sorry about my phone ringing, to attach it with a piece of sticky foam, the whole like card front basically. Well, it just made it even more thick because that embossed piece of paper is so thick already. So that's what I'm saying. I won't mail this card. I will hand deliver it. It's still fine. I mean, it's just got a thick front on it is all. But that was the first one, and then this was the second one I made where I used this stuff around the frame instead of rubbing the Viva stuff. So which one is your favorite? Which technique do you like better with the frame? And which color combination do you like better? This one only had one leaf. You know what? Now that I have extra leaves over here, I could tuck another. Let me cut these two leaves apart and see, because I really like the idea of having a little bit of a leaf down there. Do I want the big one? That looks kind of pretty, I think. I'm going to do that one. It's called being lazy. I didn't die cut as many leaves, and I didn't want to go back and get the dies and stamp. I was being lazy, you guys, so I didn't have 2 sets of leaves for each card, but since I didn't use all of the leaf, I've got a piece now to go back and put on this one. And then remember I told you I used my scan and cut to cut the flowers. Well, when I first did it, I told it not to leave an edge. And that wasn't working out very well, because if you've ever used a scan and cut, if there's areas like in this one where the black pieces don't come together, anywhere where the outline is not solid, doesn't come together, it wants to go inside of those outlines and cut. And this was the only, I stopped my machine because I could see what was happening. This one came out not too bad. I think I might have had another one that I threw away. I don't remember. So I went ahead and used this one, and then I stopped my machine and reset everything and had it go back and leave a bit of an outline. Oh, thank you, Marianne. So, yeah, I love my scan and cut because I have a room full of woodblock stamps that I don't have dies for. And even some, excuse me, even some of my, like I have a ton of close to my heart stamps, the acrylic ones that there's no dies for those. And I have some of the photopolymer ones. You know, I don't have dies for all of my stamps. But with a scan and cut, I can pretty much die cut out any stamp that I do have. So I love that thing. And if you're curious, I did buy mine on Amazon. So anyway, those are my 3 little fall cards for today. And I do have some things for tomorrow for Saturday morning makes, and I will probably be working on another project in the morning for that too. Maybe we'll see how it goes. So come back tomorrow and see what everybody is doing for Saturday morning makes. And if you play along or you'd like to, feel free to do that. You just make something and take a picture of it and post it up to Instagram if you want, or do a video and put it on YouTube and put the hashtag SatmornMakes. And you can also load that up to Pinterest or Facebook, wherever, whatever social media you want. Okay? Have a fantastic weekend. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all of you who spend time out of your day to watch my videos and hang out with me. Okay, take care, and I will see you next time. Happy stamping. Bye-bye.